Hi, I'm Rob with a hat.
And I'm Angie with a heart.
And together we are TwinFinity.
We don't plan these things. You make me think on my toes.
You should have known I was not just going to do a normal one.
That's true. There was one time you went, "Hi, I'm Rob!" And we couldn't even do the video because I was laughing so hard. Do you remember that one?
Yep.
"Hi, I'm Rob!" And I'm like, what do I do with that? We had to start over because I was like, I don't know how to go with that.
So I have on a hat, and Angie's got on her new sweater with a heart, and it's got sparkles and everything else. And both of these are new to us within the past couple of days.
Past day, we both got them yesterday. We're, as we've shared before, thrift store junkies. We love our thrift stores because you get amazing things like this and
amazing things like this.
Funny things like this. I can't stop laughing at him in this crazy hat.
So we were going through we're going to go into our story.
Yeah.
We were going through the thrift store, and I saw this hat. Now, we have to understand a couple of things. First of all, it's winter. And
where we live anyway.
And second of all, I just got a haircut.
No, you got all of your hairs cut.
It's cold. It's cold.
You're like the hairless cat.
And so when I saw this hanging off a thing on a rack, it did two things. It looked warm because it also has got like foldy out bits that go down over.
It's got the Elmer Fudd look now.
Yeah, except it's not an Elmer Fudd.
It's not.
Hat.
It's
not tall.
Not.
It's more. It's more like the English gentleman walking as two Dobermans with a trench coat on kind of hat.
And that's what we both thought. He actually brought me over. When we go thrift storing, we do a section of the thrift store together, the houseware stuff, and then after that, we go on our own to look at our own things. And Rob was so excited about this hat that he had to come find me last night and bring me over to where this hat was and show it to me. And I burst out laughing the minute he put it on. I'm like, are you kidding me? And we both had the same image of it being like a British man, an older British man with a fancy trench coat, walking his two Doberman pinschers. And I don't even know where we have this from. Like, was it from a movie? Where did we get this from?
You see that in movies and whatnot.
Can I have some covers too? I'm cold.
You're cold?
My legs are cold. I just realized. There we go. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't even have slippers on or socks on, so my feet were cold.
Yeah.
So we got a blanket.
So,
and also one other thing I haven't said yet is my dad owned a hat like this, except it was black.
Oh.
And he wore it with his long leather coat and everything. So it kind of reminded me of that. I don't know whatever happened to the hat.
But you got the coat. So now
I got the coat.
Now you can wear the hat.
And I got the gloves. And I got the scarf.
And that hat will match that coat quite well.
It will.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow. Now you're going to look like your dad.
I already do look like my dad.
Yeah, you do. You look totally like your dad.
Very few people would know what my dad looks like. But I look like my dad.
Rob was determined last night. He was buying this hat. And I figured it was only appropriate he should share the story and talk about his hat because there was a video sometime in the summer. I can't even remember if it was this summer or last summer, but we were on the hill of our backyard and you were talking about your hat and you were trying to straighten it and you were going to tell a story and I was all snarly and I'm like, nobody cares. And I just like shut you down talking about your hat. I was in task mode. I'm like, we got to get to the questions. We got a lot of questions. I'm like, we don't have time for talking about hats. So now Rob can have the floor to talk about his hat.
Of course, now I have on a warm hat with cold feet and a fire on behind me, so my poor body is confused. It's got
You're
warm,
gonna be too
cold,
warm
and,
soon.
And where it's been cold is now warm.
You're going to be taking your hat off at some point because it'd be too warm. It's a cute hat, though. It's very, very cute.
I like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's warm.
Yeah.
It's the winter version of a walking in England hat.
Yes. Yes. So this is what we entertain ourselves with is thrift store shopping and crazy hats for very inexpensive prices. And heart bling shirts because, you know, I don't have any of those. And jewelry that I already have to match it because Rob's like, well, you have jewelry that matches everything. Of course. If you buy a new shirt, you're going to have jewelry to match it.
She says, And I don't want to use the word ridiculous, but she says something like, "Oh, I have jewelry to match a shirt like this or sweater or whatever," and I'm like,
Of course you do.
"Buy the whole store. You've got something that matches it."
But when you just have very inexpensive $3 jewelry, but it brings you joy and makes you happy, why not? You can have a whole pile of them. Oh, here comes the critter.
Oh, yeah,
Finally realized it's a good thing you're covered up. Now you won't get licked.
yeah. Got on shorts. Dog trying to work her way downstairs, even though she doesn't go up and down the stairs very well anymore.
No.
Poor dog's getting old. Very old.
Yeah.
Dog years.
So unless you have more to share, we could dive into questions.
Yes.
But I had a story that I was going to share, and then when Rob put his hat on, I'm like, no. We gotta talk about the hat. That's a worthy discussion because it's a funny hat. I can't look at him without laughing.
So I'm going to get laughed at all video.
All night long. Yep.
After the video, I'll take it off.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet you'll still take it off during the video because you'll get too warm with the fire.
No.
Oh, and by the way, we had to shrink our thing because we don't
No.
have anything on our mantle right now
No.
because we're still in the process of finishing, not renovations. I don't think you'd call them renovations.
This time around, for those of you who know what this is all about, we had poly B piping.
Water pipes.
Water pipes, like clean water pipes in our house, and those are prone to breakdown and leaks and bursting and all these other fun things. So we had somebody in to replace all the piping in our house, which of course turned it into chaos because I needed to get here, I needed to get under there, I needed to chop
cut
holes in
in
this,
walls.
holes in roof, or roof of the basement. Anyway, to get up to the plumbing on the main floor. Thank goodness this place is only 2 stories tall, including the underground bit.
That really makes it not 2 stories then.
Well, true.
Makes it 1 story.
So anyway, yeah, the place is still somewhat a chaos, and we've got someone coming in to do the drywall repair and all that fancy stuff this week. So by maybe the middle of next week, we'll have our house back to normal.
That would be marvelous.
It hasn't been normal barely all summer.
We have Rob's stereo all covered in plastic right
Aw.
beside us, and in front of us there's drywall, and there's a bunch of stuff that was in the bedroom that's now in the main part of our basement with blankets covering it because they're going to make a big dusty mess when they do the drywall. So we're living in a little bit of chaos, but luckily only our basement. Our upstairs is fine.
Yeah, our upstairs wasn't touched. Everything was behind a cabinet or through
A floor.
the floor.
So yes, that's why we have no love above us tonight. But we have love beside
Yes,
us
we do.
instead with a fancy hat.
And a blingy shirt.
Yes.
Questions? I think we need to get there.
I think we do.
All right. Dear Angie, dear Rob.
We've been deared.
That's very endearing.
Uh,
I've been watching your videos for quite a few years now.
quite a few.
Yeah.
Is that actually what it says?
No, it says for quite a few, but
Oh,
I
okay.
say quite a few.
I know, that's why I was like, did somebody say it the way you said it? Wow.
No,
Okay, you ad-libbed. I get it.
I threw that in.
Okay, quite a few years. Yes.
Thank you so much for it.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. I know my twin now for 14 years. We have been together and now in separation for 13 years. Once in a while, I get some ideas about reaching out to him. I'm not sure if it always comes from my head or from a higher perspective. I'm uncertain about these actions since he seems so far away at the moment. Should I keep doing it since I'm not sure if these ideas come from a higher perspective, or does it extend the separation and block union?
I'm going to move this a little further down. I find it interesting how a lot of people are so afraid to take any sort of action because they're afraid they're going to block union or affect their union or damage the potential of union. And my response to that is always, you can't. I mean, certainly you can delay union, if you're really going against your guidance, your inner guidance, and the flow of the connection. But you can't damage it. I mean, you're one soul in two bodies, so you're always connected, and you're always working towards the same goal, even if it doesn't feel like it on a human level. So I think it's important to let that fear go, because that, I think, stifles a lot of people in a fear of not taking action. So that's the first thing I wanted to say. The second thing is, I wanted to just go back to what they said. I get ideas of reaching out. If you get ideas of reaching out, I think it's important to just feel into yourself and find out, where's that idea coming from? Is it coming from a needy place, an ego place, an insecure place? Or is it coming from a soul connection place? Is it coming from spirit's guidance or your higher self's guidance? And I think if you can determine where that feeling is coming from, that will then help you know if it's right to take action or not take action. If it's coming from a place of desperation, because, oh my God, I haven't heard from my twin in a while, and are they still there? And, then you're in fear. If you're going to reach out in that place, your twin's going to feel that. Whether they're conscious of it or not, they're going to feel your energy, and that might repel them more, and they might not respond. But if you're being guided to reach out, then it could be your twin calling out to you energetically to reach out. Rob used to do that to me. He would energetically tell me to contact him. So it's just, again, it's about connecting with your inner self to know where that guidance is coming from, or where that nudge is coming from. That was a whole lot.
That was. As much as you have that nudge, I also believe it's important to meet your twin on their level, wherever that level is. And I think it's important to understand that. So if you don't know where they are at, like as far as the ability to communicate on that level, sometimes you have to do a little bit of pre-work on it. And if you have no real idea whether or not they are close to wanting to be in contact, or whether it's just 5D that's doing the talking back and forth, sometimes you just have to ask, can I be in touch?
Oh,
but
yeah.
If you have an idea where they are at on all levels, then I don't see that there's any real harm. I'm a believer in staying in touch. I really am. Well, let's just say when you've been in separation for 13 years, if you decide not to be in touch for another 13 years, guess what? That's 26 years. I think it's better to know how to be in touch, or at least having tried to be in touch, than to just let things just stay the way that they are, because some opportunity for progress is better than none.
Yeah.
And if you find out that you're only allowed to be in very occasional touch, well, at least you know that.
I was just going to say that. It never hurts to reach out, and then at least you get some, well, maybe you don't get something, but if you do, and it's not what you were hoping for, at least you have something. They might say, please don't contact me, or don't contact me now, contact me in a year, who knows? But you don't know until you try.
And if you're worried about contact blocking someone, throwing up a roadblock instead of opening up communication, I think it's important to remember that most of the time roadblocks are thrown up in the 3D.
Yes.
If you've got some level of communication in 5D, that won't necessarily go away. It's so hard. Even when people want to block in 5D, it doesn't work. So to accidentally block someone in 5D it would be incredibly unlucky. So,
and I don't think you can, because you're always connected in 5D.
Yeah, okay. So really, that's why it's important to know where your twin's at, because generally it's the 3D that's so hard to get the communication channel open and available.
Yeah.
But it doesn't happen without trying.
Exactly. There's no harm in trying. Okay, the next question is a big, long one. I probably should have edited it because there's lots of information that could be skipped, but I didn't. So.
Oh, and it wraps around?
Yeah, it's this as well.
There'll be a short intermission as I flip the page.
Oh, I thought you were going to say a short intermission as I read all of this. I don't think it's as big as this one was, or maybe it's the same size.
It looks about the same.
There you go. We managed that one last time. It'll be okay.
We've got a big long sheet of questions on paper, and sometimes we still have the ones from last video available to us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
The person says, I have a curious issue. My divine masculine can't let me go. Well, there's an unusual statement to read.
Most people are not saying it that way. They're saying
Happened
my
once.
Divine masculine
Is
doesn't want to be
running.
with me.
Okay. Well, this is real curious. I have tried to cut contact with my divine masculine many times, but every time he finds reasons, or even without reasons, just disregards my request to get back in contact again. He reels me back in again. Okay. And I kind of let him. That's why it would happen all the time, is because a person's been kind of let to have that happen. Okay, enough of that. We also do volunteer work together, which doesn't help. We are older, and our journey has been going for almost 10 years now. He's been in a karmic relationship for almost all of this time. I've been single for all of this time and can't seem to find someone. It's like I'm getting blocked to find someone else. I can't deal with that or even just accept it, so I prefer to not be in contact. I'm running, I know. I'm a textbook HSP, that's highly sensitive person, and an empath, and with everything going on in my life, let alone the world, I have to manage my energy and mental health just to function in daily life.
Totally get that.
Without this ongoing TF roller coaster. My divine masculine is aware of our connection, that we are twin flames, and accepts it. This is such an odd question.
Everybody else is thinking, what's the problem? Like, this sounds like my dream.
Trade ya. He knows about my love for him, and as I have told him, and I have sent many letters explaining why I don't want contact, so he understands, but to no avail. I used to spend I just about did it again. We used to spend quite a bit of time together as friends, but in the past few years it's been mainly phone calls and text, instigated by him almost on a daily basis. We have to have boundaries, which he unintentionally keeps breaking by saying something that hurts me. He's very inconsistent and runs hot and cold. Sometimes he's all over me, flirty and sweet and charming, and other times I don't hear from him for some time, but not usually more than a week. Or he's distant and grumpy. I find it difficult to deal with this inconsistency, and it keeps triggering me. I feel like we're stuck in this repetitive cycle, and I would like to get out of it, and it's very exhausting on many levels. I feel that we need to be apart to grow and heal, although we're very good together, and he's been one of my closest friends for the whole time I've known him. And of course, I'd love to have him in my life for good, but not as it is right now. I know it's not easy for him either, but no matter what I do, he's not letting me go. Any advice or different perspective on how we can move forward? I'd also love to hear from Rob on the divine masculine perspective. Well...
Yes, oh wise fancy hat man.
This is interesting. That's a lot to digest and then try to comment on right away. But what I think is in this question is a tale of two runners that don't really want to let go, but they're holding space.
But don't know how to be together yet either.
They don't know how to be together, but they definitely don't want to lose each other. So even in regards to the last question, this is one where they're both staying in touch but don't know what to do with it all.
And I'm glad you mentioned the last question, because I was going to just address that and point out, do you see how you might be able to slow down the connection, or maybe not even, because it's got its own speed and you'll get the guidance as you need it. But you see how you can't really screw it up. This lady's annoyed because her twin won't leave her alone and honor her request, and yet, is with her and then not with her and hot and cold. But she's still there. It's not like she's left him and said, like, I never want to speak to you again. So, again, my point is you can't damage the connection. You might be able to slow it down or affect it in ways, but I think so many people are so afraid to make any decision because they're like, oh, I don't want to screw up my union. You can't.
There was one bit where she described him as being grumpy. And that word has stuck with me. People are upset or cranky or grumpy when they're not where they want to be.
I was going to say when they're not congruent with themselves. They're not
Right.
feeling in line with their own self.
So this person is the divine masculine is in a karmic relationship that obviously is hard to deal with, because if it was completely where he wanted to be, there wouldn't be any connection between these two. So there's something about the relationship that is needed, but at the same time, having both these relationships gnawing at him makes him grumpy. Sometimes he can be on one side of the pendulum and be nice, but then he's probably grumpy to the other side. And then the pendulum will swing over and he's nice to that side, but then grumpy with the other side. There's probably very, very little ground. I do believe that at some point the divine masculine will have to, for their own sanity, start to make some decisions. They probably can't live like this either. Both sides of the equation here are struggling. One doesn't like the way it is, and the other one doesn't like the way it is. Or else it wouldn't be so stressful and grumpy.
So what she's asking is, what do I do? And my response, not that I necessarily have advice of what to do or not to do, but my thought is, this is a lesson of growth for you just as much as it is for him, or you wouldn't be in it. It would just be about his stuff bouncing around in his own head and him trying to deal with it, and you wouldn't be involved. The fact that you guys volunteer together are in a sort of working environment together, it's like the universe has put you together to say, okay, like, you're here, figure this out. We're not giving each of you space, because that's not going to solve anything. The only way to solve it is by being together. So it's learning to be in this dance, either honoring where he's at when he's there, or setting boundaries for yourself if you don't like it. And I know you've said you've tried to do that and he dishonors them. And maybe it's having clear boundaries. Maybe it's having a good, solid conversation of, this is not acceptable. And giving him, not necessarily consequences, but I don't know what you'd call them, but just giving him, like, if this happens, I will have no choice but to do this, sort of.
I don't know on this. I hear where you're coming from, but this is where it's so hard to figure out how to approach it.
Well, and this is why she wants your opinion as the masculine, because that's what we need to know is how does the masculine think and feel?
In this situation where you volunteer together and that isn't enough contact, there's still additional contact, so let's say phone calls or texts, and it seldom goes longer than a week. I think that there is a definite fear on behalf of the divine masculine of losing the divine feminine if he doesn't stay in touch. It's a very insecure, oh my God, I gotta stay in touch. Oh my God, I gotta stay in touch. It's a panic. It's a panic. But as soon as there is in touch, then there's the internal conflict, which then immediately flips over into the, I've made contact, and this feels so right and wrong at the same time, and now I'm confused. I have to get away. Therefore, the best way to do that is to be grumpy.
Right.
So I'll be grumpy, but at least I've been in contact. Okay, now I'm out of contact, and it's been a week, and now I'm scared again. We got to get back in contact because now I'm afraid of losing. Okay, so it just goes. It's a repeating cycle. What the divine masculine may need is some reassuring that as much as all this whiplash is uncomfortable and to the point of being hurtful, the divine masculine may need the knowledge that the divine feminine is not going to go anywhere if you're not in touch for 2 weeks, or if you're only in touch while you're volunteering together. Might need that reassurance so that the divine masculine can get out of his own panicky cycle and start to work on growth as opposed to just maintenance of where he's stuck at.
And I was just, that's very good. I want to comment on that first. I was also just thinking that he's feeling her in her own energy of being HSP and empathic. So she's feeling his energy, he's feeling hers. So what they both need to do is learn to manage their own energy and not allow the other one to affect them so much, because that's what's keeping them looped. He feels her energy of wanting to pull away, so then he's like, oh my God, I feel like she's leaving. So then he grasps on, but then when he's got her, then he's feeling like, well, crap, I got this other relationship and this isn't right.
And it's too much.
Right.
Overwhelmed.
So then he's overwhelmed and he gets grumpy and starts pulling away. And then she's feeling his stuff and she's feeling his grumpiness and stress and everything else. And then they just keep looping. So the thing is to give each other your own energy, which doesn't necessarily mean space, but it's energetically having a clear boundary of this is my energy, that's yours. I don't need to feel yours. Even though we're connected, I'm not responsible for your energy. You're responsible for it. So for her being the one that's aware of this consciously, that's where maybe you need to do some energetic work of talking with him telepathically and energetically clearing your energy of his, not his energy, but his emotions, his fears, his abandonment stuff, his whatever he's got going on with, being that he's connecting with you and in another relationship, is letting that go and maybe telepathically saying to him, I can't hold this for you. I can't feel this for you. You need to own this and I will own mine.
This is coming down to education. I think that these two are stuck in a loop because they both understand what they know, but they're both not teaching each other how this really is affecting them. In fact, they both might not be aware of what Angie was just talking about. The energies not being in alignment between the two of them.
Yeah.
It's almost like when they're together, they should spend 2 minutes each time just teaching each other about how they feel, how they work, how they operate, and how things bounce back and forth.
If they're able to have that conversation, maybe he's not there yet. But even if you can't come into alignment with each other, come into alignment with yourself. again, I get it, as a highly sensitive person and an empath, we got all this energy around us, but that's part of your lesson in this growth, is understanding how to manage your energy and not take on his or anybody else's. So for you, it's about being in alignment with your own energy and clearing everybody else's out, and then you can be around him without his energy affecting you. He can do his own dance of being close, pulling apart, and it won't affect you as much because you're solid in your own energy. And that's part of coming into union, is union with self. So that's your first step. That's your lesson in this, is learning to have union with self in managing your energy. And then when your energy's managed and you're in alignment with you, you can then flow that alignment energy to him and help him find his own alignment.
I see a lot of parallel in the relationship and the question, and an aspect of Angie and myself's relationship.
Absolutely.
The HSP and empathic person panics and needs a little bit of space because they're just overwhelmed.
Yep.
The other side of the equation says, oh my God, there's somebody that needs comfort. I'm going to give them all the energy I can. And
we just had that happen last week.
Yes, we did.
And I'm like, I realize you're trying to help me, but that makes it worse. That does not help me.
Okay.
It just overstimulates me more.
And so that is likely another accurate aspect of this question.
Yeah.
Where someone's just trying to comfort someone else when that someone else needs the space.
Yeah.
But
so it's about understanding what you need first, being able to manage your own energy, and then communicating that with him. And if you can communicate it in a way that helps him understand, it's not about him. It's just the way you walk through the world.
And until this, I'll go back to it again, communication and education happens, chances are this loop that these two are in won't change a whole lot drastically.
Yeah.
It might over years, but it would be probably easier and better and more proficient of a style of growth if they could work on this education first. And that education first, just through the understandings, would also assist them, and a lot of it would happen on autopilot, assist them in setting boundaries.
Yeah. And I think it's most ideal that you're both aware of the twin flame connection, because then you can even explain it in the twin flame terms. You're not even having to try and explain it to him in the 3D terms. You know, just explain, I'm highly sensitive. I feel your energy very intensely because we're connected. I feel everybody's energy intensely, but I feel yours even more so because of the way we're connected. So I need to manage my energy. So when I'm pulling away, it's not because I'm pulling away from you. I'm just pulling away to manage my energy. And hopefully, you know, if you can explain that in a way that makes sense to him and just have some clear, honest communication, then he won't have that push-pull, because he will know that you're not pulling away from him. You're just pulling away to help yourself.
This whole question could have started out with, we are not in union, or we are in union. And the rest of the question would all apply. It doesn't matter whether you're in union or out of union. There's a huge amount of understanding and knowing when and when not to apply energy.
We had to have lots of those conversations when we first got into union. And as I said, we still do. Because we, as much as twin flames are the same, you're still opposites in some ways. When Rob thinks I'm having a rough time and I'm zapped, he wants to give me energy, and I'm trying to tell him that backfires. I don't need more energy.
Most of the time she's zapped because she's already had too much energy.
And so we still have to have those conversations, even though we've been in union for 10 years? 11? I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh no, it was 11. Oh, we forgot to share. On 11/11, November 11th, it was 11 years of Rob waking up to our connection.
Yeah.
And I actually got a tattoo on 11/11 because it was 11 years.
Show it off.
It's not really that easy to show the way but it's our two hearts.
Two hearts.
You can't see it very well, but it's a blue and pink heart, and then the purple infinity that the two hearts make. So it's our two energies blended. So it was my tattoo on 11/11 day for 11 years. So my point in saying that is we've been together 11 years, and we still have to have these conversations sometimes.
But
because we're different people.
But all she has to do is, even just with one sentence, tell me how she's feeling and why she's feeling it, and I get the yes. I'll slink away now.
I'm overstimulated.
Run away.
I need to hide in my meditation room alone.
And usually I still do sneak in if I can and do something like throw a blanket on her or something.
Because you can't not nurture.
Can't not nurture.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that the key is number one, knowing yourself so that you can clearly communicate to your twin what you need and help them understand, and that way they become more aware of their own energies. Because when you're both aware of your energies and know how to manage them, that's what helps union.
A lot.
Yeah.
Oh, congratulations. We have two people who can actually talk to each other and start
That's
hammering
fantastic.
this out.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Isn't that nice?
That is nice.
Sorry, all your stress and everything else is so nice on our side.
Well, it's just exciting because most people don't have that. Most people don't have their twin even communicating with them, let alone that they see all the time and work together. And it's still a stress. I get it, but it's a nicer place than a lot of people are probably in or feel that they're in.
Yeah, it's one of those grass is always greener on the other side of the fence things.
Totally.
When you have it, you go, oh my goodness, this is hard to manage. And when you don't have it, you'd say, well, I'll take my chances. I'd like to try to manage it.
Yeah. I'll take that over my stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Another one?
Yeah.
All right. I had a vision of my twin reaching out at the start of 2023, and I've had 2 years of hell since in my personal life. But my question is it normal to get messages or signs that are not true? My vision was clear as day, but where I was in the vision when I received the message, I have moved away from for good. In the vision, I was in my old home, and he had wrote a long message on Instagram, and we have never talked on there. This vision is clear as day, and I've not had anything like that since, or even before, or really not so clear anyway. I could make out he was talking about our connection and my phone wallpaper and everything. In the vision, it was a childhood picture of me and my cousin who hadn't died yet. So it had never been my wallpaper before and won't be now. I believe I had it to help me through everything. I believe the question means I believe I had the vision to help me through everything that was about to happen to me. I feel like I've overcome a lot since that vision, but it blows my mind, and I'm so confused on why did anything like that happen.
I can dive into this one if you.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to need time to sort and file on this one.
Why I'm so eager to dive into this is because I relate to this. When Rob and I were together back in '97 and then broke up, I had angels channeling all the time saying that we'd be together and we had a mission, and they used all the words that twin flames know about, mission and union and all this, which we didn't know we were twin flames. And they even told me how we were gonna end up back together. It was on a story, and they used to write this in poetry. It's too bad I didn't go pull out my journals because I could have read. But they would write in poetry, and they kept saying, it'll be a stormy night, and he'll come knocking on your door, and he's going to propose. And it never happened. And I was like, you lying bleep, bleep, bleepers.
Yes.
I was
the
so...
the feathered ones.
Yes. Feathered friends, we'll say.
Yeah. That's a much more polite word.
Yes. And I was so angry that I cut off all my spiritual gifts for years because I felt like they lied to me. And I don't believe, much like your situation, that it's wrong. It's just a potential. It's not like twin flames that there's one scenario where you're going to be together and this is the way it's going to happen. There's potentials for wherever you are in your journey. If you've grown enough, if you've done enough of the work at a certain time, then this is a potential that could happen. And that was a potential in my life that could have happened if everything worked the way it was meant to work. And it's also not just about it's a potential if you've done enough work. It's just about the whole collective. We weren't ready to be in union because it wasn't ready collective-wise for us to be in union. It wasn't just about our connection. It was about the whole connection of twin flames in general. So spirit doesn't have exact timing. It's not like there's a date that says this is when you're going to be in union. They just give you little guidelines. So they gave you that vision as a potential that could have happened back then, but it didn't. And now you might get other visions and they might come true and they might not. I've had other visions down the road of Rob and I that did come true. But the one that I was first shown wasn't that potential. Or maybe it even was, but in a different, not different lifetime, but do you remember that book by Richard somebody? It's called One. And it's all about every decision you make breaks you off into not a different life, but a different potential within that life. Profound book.
This is just where I was going as you were talking. Life very much is like a tree. You start from where the roots are and you work up the trunk. There's one tree trunk. And then there's a multitude of branches that break off into other branches and other branches. And it's not like your life is a portion of the tree. Your life is the whole tree.
Yes.
But you really can only have one path on that tree. So when you get a vision,
I'll be right back.
When you get a vision, it's oftentimes a general vision that applies to all aspects of your tree. And just because the vision had a house in it, and now you don't have that house anymore, it doesn't mean that that vision doesn't still apply to your life, to your journey.
Yes.
It just means that if you happen to have been on that branch, it would have happened there as opposed to where you're at.
I went and got the book. It's handy that my bookshelf is just straight out there. And look, it even has an infinity on it. Isn't that perfect? It's such a cool book. It's older, as you can see. It's quite an old book. But it literally talks about him and his, you could call them twin flames now, in my opinion. But they call themselves, I think, soulmates. But it's about exactly what Rob was saying, is like it's a branch. And every turn you make could make a different decision. And it just talks about all the different experiences they have on the different turns they make in life and how it affects who they are and what experiences they have. And yeah, it's a profound, neat book. It makes me want to reread it. I haven't read it in eons of time.
Sometimes a vision, if you would have been on the right branch for the lesson that you were supposed to learn, you wouldn't need the vision because the lesson would have happened because you would have been on that branch. If you happen to be on a different branch, but you still need the lesson, Spirit will sometimes provide you with a vision because it's still relevant to where you are, but it's not a place you can go back to because you've already made other choices that have taken you away from where that experience without the vision would have been. How was that for complicated?
That's complicated. I don't even know if I got it all. I just wanted to also, they they were just talking about, I feel like I've overcome a lot since the vision, but it blows my mind, and I'm so confused on why did anything like that happen to me. I think we also get these, even if they don't come true or happen the way we were shown that they would, it just helps us stay on the path. It's like a little piece of hope, or the dangling carrot, but not in a negative way. Sometimes we associate the dangling carrot as like, like keep following me. But it is almost like breadcrumbs on the trail, spirit saying keep going, so they're just kind of giving you a light, a guidance.
And especially if you're questioning whether or not spirit's really on your side or not, something you want to be focused on. Sometimes a message from spirit, like a vision, is a reminder that spirit is still there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So therefore, don't. It's spirit's way of saying, "Hi, I realize you're buried in 3D, but don't forget me." It can happen.
Yeah.
Some people walk away from spirit in their life.
Yeah. I have.
And yet other people that are capable of recognizing their visions, as per se, in many different ways it can happen. It's just a way of keeping them reminded.
Yep. So don't give up hope. Just know that it's one potential, and maybe it'll still happen, but not exactly like your vision. Maybe it won't happen that way at all. I mean, if you look at Rob and I, we didn't come back together at all like my angels told me in many things of channeled poetry. It
Nope.
wasn't even close to what they said. But we still did.
And even if I could have tried to write down the top 10 ways, if someone was to say, you and Angie are going to get back together, write out the ways it was going to happen, I wouldn't have come up with.
No, not
with
this
what
way.
happened. Nope.
No.
Wouldn't have happened.
No.
So
Because it was one potential in maybe thousands. Who knows?
So whether it's trying to figure it out through a 5D perspective or 3D perspective, sometimes you just have to live it as it comes to understand where the vision applies.
Yep. Exactly.
Very interesting.
So don't give up hope.
How are we doing on time?
We have time for this last one.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. All right.
I'll double check, but yes, we're doing all right. That's shocking for us.
I have the sense that I am the emotional leader in our connection. Okay. I get so excited and want to say all the things.
I so relate. Yes.
And then he retreats or gets quiet. Overloaded. But he's never asked me to stop or go away. Still knows there's something to it. There I am. I'm answering the question as we go. That's not very nice. I have begged him to tell me to stop if he isn't interested, and he will not say it. Because he's still interested.
That's right.
Can't probably manage it, but still interested. I have always encouraging, but also always quiet about his feelings or the possibility of building a life with me in the future. No comment. I think he needs to be spoon-fed, and instead I have shoveled plates in his face over and over. Normal.
But good awareness. I love that. I love the way it's described, and I love their awareness of what he needs versus what they're giving him.
I have not been a good leader in this way, and I have not met him where his emotional abilities are. I earlier tonight said something about meeting somebody at their level. Can you speak on this need to spoon feed? Do you think that this is like sorting and filing? Have you had similar experiences? Yes.
Yes.
In your past. I am trying to decide if I need to reel it in or if he needs to rise to meet me.
Maybe both.
Maybe both. What is the best approach to help him grow his comfort for emotional processing capacity? That last question, it's kind of like opening up a computer and trying to give it a program without knowing what its RAM and memory is.
That's the most interesting analogy you've ever said, because you're not a computer person. That's pretty deep.
I had to really work on those words.
It's the hat. It channels you a whole different. You're Mr. Englishman, wise old Englishman, with your dogs.
2 Doberman pictures.
That's right.
Nice dogs. Nice Dobermans. Happy to meet everybody. Not junkyard dogs.
I gotta figure out where we know that vision from. I have comments on this, because when we were coming into union, I was guided to do exactly what she's talking about. Spoon feed you. I mean, because I had been studying twin flames for 1.5 years before I even told Rob, and I just wanted to go bleh and tell him everything. But my guidance, because I was meditating so deeply before we came into union and as we were coming into union, my guidance was very strong, and I was very strongly guided to tell him only when he started asking questions. So if he, for example, November 11th, 11 years ago, was when he was the one, all I did was gave him the words twin flames 2 or 3 days beforehand and just said, go look it up, go research it, do your own work if you wish. He didn't do any of that. But on November 11th, it's like a switch was flipped in his mind, and he awoke, and he was telling me stuff about our connection without having done any research. So he was ready. So I was able to tell him a little bit more. Spoon feed, not a whole plate. I love how she used that. So yes, I think that's the key, is for you. I'm so glad you're aware of that. And to be more aware of that is to, again, be in your connection, not in your mind, but in the energy of your connection, and feel into him. And he will either telepathically tell you when he's ready for more, or energetically you'll feel when he's ready for more, or your higher self or his higher self will give you that information. But yes, I think it's very wise to give little bits when the person is ready, because like you had said, the sort and file. If you give them the whole bunch at a time,
you can't sort or file.
No, because they're also sorting and file differently than we do as the feminine energy. The feminine energy sorts and files through our emotions. The masculine energy often sorts and files through their mind. So they need time to process it and figure out where it goes in their like brain of filing cabinet.
Sometimes you have to build a brand new filing cabinet.
Right. So that's where it takes even more time to sort and file.
Sometimes when you get that square peg and you don't have a square hole in your mind to put it anywhere, you have to go build one.
Yeah.
And sometimes you need a bit more information to know what the square hole for the square peg really needs to look like, so that everything fits together. And then as soon as you get that figured out, then a new piece comes along. You get a triangle. Oh, watch out, octagon's next. Yeah, just...
So I'd be interested for you to speak to this from our connection. Did I spoon feed you at the right pace? Did I give you too much? Not enough? Like, because we would actually have conversations, and I would say, I have more to share, but I don't want to overwhelm you. And you'd be like, no, I'm a sponge right now. You can give me more, and my sponge might not soak it up. I remember this was a text you had given me, and you're like, it might just sit there in a pool of water until my sponge is ready to soak it up, but you can give me more. So we had conversations like this, and I would ask, like, are you ready for more, or are you not? Because I don't want to overwhelm you.
I would take that plate and treat it like a giant cookie and chop it up into tiny little pieces. And yes, spoon feed, because, a person who's a little bit hungry for more information, or at least is a little bit ready, they don't necessarily have to be hungry. They just need to have some capacity. And that's what I was telling Ange is, well, it might just sit there as a puddle until my sponge can actually figure out how to sop it up.
Yeah.
I was saying I have the capacity to just be over-energized without damaging me.
Yeah, and being overwhelmed.
Not everybody can be at that place at that time when that can happen. So it's best to have a little less information than
Yeah.
what you think a person can handle than a little bit more. The very fact that this person, that the divine masculine here is staying interested, staying communicative, it means that means a lot to me.
Yeah,
Having-
absolutely.
Having been down that path, chances are, without the help of greater information from the twin, they are still getting some levels of affirmation, hence why they are staying open to the
Yeah.
communication. So there's things going on here that the feminine doesn't know about.
Yeah.
And that the masculine is somehow or another still managing to keep in balance. So I would say not changing a whole lot other than maybe setting up some overload protection.
Yes, and overload is the exact word I was going to use. Even though you're asking your twin and they're not saying, no, don't give me more, I would use your own discretion, your own intuitive guidance to not give them too much at once, because they might think they're absorbing it and then all of a sudden they're not, and then they're overwhelmed. And then
Bash.
exactly, and then they pull away. So if you, like Rob said, I love that analogy. You have a cookie on a plate, cut the cookie into little pieces. It's like a kid. You're not going to hand them a giant cookie and say, okay, go to it. I mean, you can, but you're going to suffer more than anything because they're going to be bouncing off the wall or they're going to be sick, right? So
I'll take my chances. I'll take the cookie.
yeah, you would take the cookie, but you wouldn't give it to a little kid, because then you'd be the one suffering while they're all over the place, and then they're having a meltdown because they're like on a sugar crash. So you don't want to give your twin an overload crash, but if you give them little bits at a time, then they have the time to sort and file. Like Rob said, the square peg, and it doesn't even have a hole, so now they got to go build a hole for it. You have the best analogies. It's so smart. So yeah, I think you're very wise. I love that you're so aware of the spoon feeding versus the whole plate, I think you described it as. And it's great that your twin is open and wanting more. I just think if you do it slowly, you're going to benefit them and you at the same time in the long run. Because they might think they're ready for more when they're not, and then all of a sudden they got a pool of information that they can't soak up because their sponge is full.
I also think it's important once in a while to, I could say this many different ways, I'll just choose some words, to thank them for their patience.
That's very good coming from the masculine perspective, sure.
Sure, like I've realized this is a lot, but thank you very much. It as much as it might sound like it means a lot to me, it means a lot to us. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Great questions tonight. A lot about connecting with your twin. Like, I'm always amazed how the questions gel together. So many of them about connecting and when to communicate and when not to communicate and how to communicate, and very, very good, deep questions.
Yeah.
I really
Very-
enjoyed these ones a lot.
I enjoy a lot of these questions and videos that we do. It's just, it's very seldomly the same. There's always something
always
different.
Yeah, for sure. Look at that. I get to complete things on my watch just by sitting here. Look at that. I completed all my rings just by sitting here.
Must have waved your arms around and it thought you were running a marathon.
All right, on that note, I think it's time to go. We've completed all the questions on our page. I feel good. The task-oriented in me is like, we did it!
That was well done.
And we did it in a reasonable amount of time. Oh, look at that. We're almost at 1 hour. We're like perfect.
That's so unusual.
That is.
What happened to us?
I don't know, but we should go while we're still on a roll. Thank you for the great questions.
Yes. And I'm not overheated.
In your fancy hat.
My fancy hat.
Yeah. All right, we love you guys. We will be back next month with some more.
All right.
Bye for now.
Enjoy.